Yeah. So this is the last one. I'm thinking of just seeing if people want to. Is it kind of like a final little project thing people can work on? Is just try to make something new. Because like you guys have learned a ton of different tools on here, so you could probably make almost any basic object you want to, or at least make a decent replication of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you
All
guys,
right.
so don't have to worry about it if you can't. But I'm kind of interested to see if people are able to. All right, are you all right?
Okay. Yeah.
We'll be making a part. All right. All right, and let me know when you have a part open to kind of get started with.
Yeah, it's a little slow on my computer.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, so just let me know. It's probably that
Okay.
most people.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Cool. So, with features, we pretty much only talked about. We did extruded base, revolved base, extruded cut, and revolved cut. And those were kind of the only ones we did. We also did a little bit with fillet. We did a little bit with the patterns. And we also did a little bit with mirroring. The thing I'd like to go over, I'd like to try to today cover how to do swept bases. Swept cuts work the same way, so I'm not going to really go over those. I'd like to try to touch on Hole Wizard, and I'd also like to try to touch on shelling, because I think those are all kind of useful. So I guess we can kind of go in order. We could start with the swept boss flat base. Remember how there were a couple classes we were making like chain links?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the last way that I know of how to make a chain link, and in my opinion, this is probably the best way. So we're going to be using a swept boss or base. So the way that works is, normally if we were to try to extrude something, we would, let's say we made a circle, we would extrude it and we can extrude it out. Or with a revolved base, we can kind of extrude it along an arc. So with swept boss, what we do is we first define a line that we want to extrude it around, and then we draw our circle, and then we can extrude it along that line that we drew. So we can basically control how we extrude it, which is really useful. So we'll kind of try using that to make a chain link, but in one go. So what we'll do is we'll start a sketch. And let me know once you have a sketch open.
I got it open.
Perfect. Okay, so let's just start kind of making some lines. So I kind of want to make basically like a line version of a chain link, and then from there we will extrude the circle around it. So I am doing a line, then I'm making an arc. I did the tangent arc, but you can use whatever arc you'd like. I'm just going to kind of put everything together, just kind of get my arcs and lines in places. And then from there, we can kind of start doing some dimensions and in some relations. So let me know once you kind of have something that looks approximately like this. It doesn't need to look this nice.
All right, I'm good.
Cool. So first thing we want to make sure. So I guess let's do some dimensioning. For a chain, I don't know. I might make this kind of straight line part maybe an inch. Sounds about right. And then maybe arcs, I might make a radius of like 0.5 seems reasonable. I don't know. We'll see. We could always go back and adjust if we think it looks silly. And mine's fully defined. And the reason why is because I had defined that these were tangent to the lines. So I don't know. Is yours also fully defined?
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Perfect. Yeah. And if they weren't, all you'd have to do is hold shift here and just make sure they're tangent. And that should make it fully defined. But yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might need to add in some other relations if it's still not defined, but cool. So we'll exit sketch. That's all we're doing with that sketch. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to a different viewpoint. So we're going to hit space, and I'm going to select this view. I think that's what would that be? The front view? Yeah, front view.
So we're doing like because for me it's like kind of like the side, the right.
You basically just kind of pick a view where you're looking at it, like like we're looking at it like this. If you're kind of watching my screen, I want to look at it from the front like this.
Okay.
Looks like I'm looking into the curves. It just looks like a line to me, but
Okay.
so now
Yep, I
we're
got it.
cool. So we're gonna do another sketch. Oh, oops. So for me, it's front plane, but whatever plane you're currently looking at, kind of just select it in your feature tree. And then we're gonna
Hold on.
sketch. Let me know if I'm gonna go kind of quick with this because I'm under the assumption we've kind of done it before, but obviously we haven't
Yeah.
done a lot of any of these. So if you're stuck, just let me know. Because I don't know how much you remember from the previous classes because it has been a while since we've done part stuff.
All
But
right. Sorry, I didn't do the sketch right. I forgot you had to click the plane it was on. My bad.
oh
Okay,
yeah,
I'm good.
okay, perfect. So then once we've kind of started making our sketch, we are going to I'm going to angle myself up a tiny bit. Maybe I won't. Well, I think I'm just gonna go back to that. So we're gonna make a little sketch, a circle. Come on, there we go.
Anywhere on the line?
Yep. And
Okay.
and basically then just kind of drag it to the like right or leftmost point of the line, and you should get a little coincident pop up that says it's coincident with it.
Mhm.
And then from there we'll just dimension it for 0.25. Seems reasonable. It should. Oh, it's not fully defined. Why are you not defined? Why aren't you defined? Oh, I could still move it side to side. Okay. What I might do then is I have the origin right here, so I might just make it coincident with the origin. Now it's fully defined. So the origin.
Okay.
Otherwise, what you might be able to do is you could kind of make a line from this point to this to like the center of the circle, and then dimension that as 0.5 because that would be kind of like halfway across our chain link by width based on our dimensions. But were you able to just make it coincident with the origin, or did you need to do something else?
Hold on. I'm
Okay.
still trying to do that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, I just want it to be on one end of this little line. And however you find a way to do that is fine. So I made it coincident with the origin. But if that doesn't work for you, let me know and we can kind of think of a different way to do it.
Hold on. Like, I don't know if it's really working. Oh, hold on.
Oh, you don't have to follow along with what I'm doing. I'm just adding a second circle just so people could see what I meant with the line if they want.
No, I'm just I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Is you were able to get the circle on, it's just not fully defined. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Did you added the diameter, but it can still move to side, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, can you just do what you did like one more time? Like when you made it coincident?
Yeah. So first I'm gonna kind of make sure it's coincident to the line, which I think you already have, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Then I'm going to click the center point of the circle, hold shift and click the origin point, and then just click coincident.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We're good.
That worked?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to exit sketch. All right, and I'm pretty sure this will work because I've never done a boss extrude around a closed loop. Usually I just do it along a line, so we'll see if this works. So we'll do a swept boss. So what we can do is we'll select the circle that we want to extrude, and we'll click swept boss / base. All right. And as you can see, it has two things, right? So the first one is the profile. That's that first thing we have. That's what we're, and then the second one here, where the line itself is blue, that's the path. So that's basically where we're extruding it on. As you can see, once I click my little chain link drawing, it extrudes our circle all along that path.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of cool?
Yeah, that is cool.
It is such a useful tool. I really, really like using it. Like, because the thing is, you can make any line, any path you want, and then extrude something along it. It's like maybe if you ever needed to make, so I'm gonna save this, and then we can do maybe one more quick.
Yeah, that makes it a lot quicker actually this way.
Yeah,
Especially if you have lines and then circles.
yeah, because this way you don't need to do like I remember last time we did a chain link, we did what, like 4 extrusions. Remember I hinted at it being a better way, and this is the better way. All right,
Yeah.
so we'll do lesson 10 link. Okay, just gonna save that. and then we're gonna just make a new part. Save it as whatever you want. I'm gonna start making a new part. Let me know when you're ready to get started with this, a new part.
All right, I'm good.
Cool. So I know another thing that we've done in the past, I don't know if we've done it while you were on the team, but another thing we've done is we've used like, you know how we have like that round, like cylindrical shaft stock that we have like the really long, thin aluminum shafts?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Well, one thing we've done is we've made like hooks and little tusks by bending it, if that makes sense. So that's like
Yeah.
an example. Like if we wanted to make a hook out of like cylindrical, or let's say we wanted to, now let's say for some horrible reason we wanted to like make, or let's stick with circular shaft. But just so you know, you can extrude any shape along a path. Like it doesn't have to be a circle. We're just doing 2 circle ones in a row. Like let's say we wanted to make like a hook. We could do that too. So we can make a quick sketch with a line and then maybe like an arc. We'll do like maybe like a little bit extra here. So this could be useful if we're ever designing like climber hooks, you know. And now we could just kind of dimension stuff. Yeah, and again, if you're ever lost, just let me know.
Okay, I'm dimensioning it now.
Sure. Yeah, you don't have to do the dimensions as I did. I'm just picking ones that sound good in my head. This would be a very big hook. This would be a very wide bar. This would be like, this is a radius of 1 inch. So that would be like an almost 2-inch bar we'd be hooking onto with this hook. So definitely a little bit bigger than we'd probably be working with, but you know. So I'm gonna exit sketch. And let's say like instead of were you done with making our little path piece?
Yeah, I'm just trying to dimension the little arc thing. It's
Okay,
not
sure. Yeah,
quite
back
working,
up.
but
And the other thing I did with the arc is I made sure it was tangent to both of these lines.
yeah.
Okay.
It says it is. It says it is. It's just not like, I don't know.
All right. Yeah, let me know when you're all set. Or if you're having trouble, let me know.
Okay.
How are classes going for you? Have you guys had any like
Uh,
big exams yet or anything? Or I don't know how far along
is
the school year is for you guys.
not really.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, not really. Like nothing crazy has happened. Like we haven't even had our PSAT yet. Okay, now I defined it. We're good. We're good.
Cool. Sick. Yeah, I know this is a pretty big, these past week or so is a pretty big exam time for us. All right, so now
Oof.
so it looks like for me, front plane is where I want to draw my rectangle, right? Because that would kind of put me in line with my line. Do you kind of understand why I'm picking like the faces that I am for drawing our little profile piece?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna pick, for me, it's the right plane. Basically, I just want to pick
Yeah.
something where if I extrude it, kind of be going in line with the little line. So I'm gonna start sketching. Maybe instead of a circle, we can do like a rectangle or like a square this time. I don't know. If we like cut it out of like metal sheet. Who knows? I'm gonna do a center rectangle for my rectangle drawings for this one. Just because I have a this little set point I can kind of center it on, and I'll drag it out a bit. So I'm gonna actually for this one. Okay. And then I don't know for dimensions. Maybe it's like a 1/4 inch. Oh, 1/4 inch metal. Maybe we have it like a 1/2 inch would be kind of overkill. Maybe we do this as 0.25, and this can be like 0.125. Maybe. I kind of like that. 0.125 thick, 0.25 wide. But again, you can do whatever you want. I'm not trying to design
Okay.
it full parts right now. And yeah, let me know when you have like a kind of a fully defined rectangle.
Yep, I'm good.
Cool. All right, so yeah, same thing again. We'll do swept boss and base. So we'll select our rectangle as our profile, little hook thing as our path. And yeah, there we go. Now we have a, oh, it's doing the weird thing again where it shows my parts is all white. I don't know why it's been doing that, but yeah, there we go. Now we have like a little bit of a hook. Yeah, and one thing we can do is, let's say, let's say we wanted like a channel in it. Have you ever seen like those hooks where it's like it's made out of like almost like a U of material? Have you seen those ones
And
before?
what?
Have you ever seen those hooks where like there's almost like a groove cut into them to like reduce weight or whatever?
Uh, no, but
Okay. Well,
I guess I'll see.
so let's say we decided we don't want a pure rectangle, right? Maybe we wanted to cut out a groove here, right? Along that
Yeah.
runs along the entire back of our hook. Because maybe we did like a little bit of math or something like that, and we're like, it's not really making it any stronger. Maybe we did some testing. We're like, let's get rid of it, save on weight or something. So if we wanted to run a groove across along this whole thing, we could do a swept cut for that, right? So we'll define now what we're cutting out. And then what we could do is if we click this drop down, we could still see our path sketch. So what we could do is we could draw a new shape to cut it, do swept cut, and then select that same path as our path again. It will follow kind of the same shape. Does that make any sense?
So yeah, so we're making a new sketch, and
Yep.
then we're gonna.
Yeah, so click one of these little rectangular faces. I don't know what kind of like notch are you thinking? Do you want to do like a square notch in it? Like a round notch, maybe a triangular notch? What do you want to do?
Let's do triangular. Let's do
Triangular?
triangular.
Sure. Yeah, works for me. Okay, cool. Maybe we have it go to like the center. That way I don't have to do any dimensioning. I don't know, does that look good to you?
Yep.
Cool. All right, yeah, I mean, do whatever you want, obviously. Yeah, cool. That's all I need to do for my sketch. Let me know when you're ready for the cut. Or I'll just do it and you can let me know if you have any trouble with it. But I'll just kind of get started on doing the swept cut. You can, yeah, let me know if you're stuck on anything.
Okay.
And that looks kind of cool, actually. You know, you could probably use this to like design like a marble ramp. You know, if you made like kind of like a curve thing for a ramp, did like a swept boss of like a rectangle and then kind of did like a circular groove. Probably make it kind of cool looking marble ramp in SolidWorks. Be kind of cool. Yeah. Um, how's the swept boss going for you? Or
All right. I gotta try it now.
okay, cool. I don't know why my parts look so weird right now. This one's fine. Hmm.
How do you wait? How do you click on the path from
Sure.
now? Like, cause it won't show it now. No.
So if I'm here, right, in this screen, what I have
Yeah.
to do is I click this drop down to pull up our little feature menu. And then from there, if I click the drop down for sweep one, I can select that first sketch that we did to make our path. So if I click the drop down for sweep one, I can
Oh.
pick out the same sketch we used for our original path. For us, it was sketch one. It kind of depends on which order you go in. Um, yeah, it is. I don't know why it's so weird. Is it? Is that one open? Were you able to get the cut to work?
I made the triangle and then I did like I don't know. I think I did something with the sketch wrong, but I get the idea.
Okay, I mean, one thing,
It just didn't work. I don't know.
did you make sure you have the right sketch selected? Because I know if you accidentally selected the one where we did the rectangle, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I made like a triangle on there. Like the one I clicked that one, yeah.
Okay, you did click that one?
And then I clicked like the path, and it just said it wouldn't work for some reason.
Um, so just to make sure, so for your profile, this first one, you have the triangle selected?
Yeah.
Okay, and then for the second one, if you click on it, it has this line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay.
Oh, okay, now it works. It worked now.
Okay, perfect. One cool little trick we can do if we ever wanted to keep track of which sketches are path, right? Because before we had to kind of, I tried to remember if it was one or two. One thing you do, if we want to right click on the path sketch that we made, there's an option called rename tree item, and you can do this with any item you have in your feature trees, and you can just rename it to something. Like I can name it path, just name the sketch path. That way it's like super obvious which one it is. So like you can name your like sketches and your features when you're doing stuff in SolidWorks. And that can make it easier sometimes to select what you want, like we were trying to do before. So just have a little thing you can do if you ever wanted to, which is kind of useful. And as you can see, it updated the name of both of them. All right. So I think I'm about ready to leave this part behind. Are you ready for a new one?
Yep.
All right, cool. So now I'm going to try to show you, there's this cool thing called the hole wizard, which is super, super useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make, oh, why am I so zoomed out? I'm just going to make a block, like just make like a rectangular block thing. Maybe like 4x4 by 4, like a 4x4 4-inch cube. I'm just going to get started on making that. Does that make sense? Just, yeah. Let me know if you need any help with that, but just a 4x4.
No, I'm good. Do you want okay. Sure.
Actually, I might change my sketch. I don't want to do 2 dimensions. I want to make that equal.
So just make a little cube.
Yeah, just make a little cube. 4 inches or bigger. Kind of up to you. Yeah, let me know when you're ready. We're just going to kind of put some holes in this block when we're ready.
All right, I'm good.
Cool. All right, so I'm just going to select one face of it. All right, and from there I'm going to click. Actually, I don't need to select a face yet if I don't want. So I'm going to click on this hole wizard under features. It's next to like extruded cut.
Yeah.
And it pops up and it has a ton of options. So it looks a little overwhelming at first, but it's super, super useful. So if you look, there's a ton of different hole types. So we have counterbore. I don't think we do counterbore much in robotics, but they have countersink, which we do a lot. Like if we ever have like the flathead screws, having to sink holes. You have just your standard holes. You have tapped holes, which we do a lot, straight tap. Taper tap. We don't do most of these very much, but we do a lot of straight tap holes and countersunk holes. So let's and this is just if you're ever making holes in something that you're trying to put screws in, try to use Hole Wizard because it is just so useful. Because I don't
Yeah.
you were there when we were doing the hex shaft, right? And I was trying to like look up what size we needed our hole to be to tap it.
Yeah. I was there. Yeah.
So what's nice about this is you don't have to look it up. So let's say we wanted a tapped hole for a quarter 20 bolt. We do a lot of stuff with quarter 20s. What we can do is we can select straight tap, right? Standard would be ANSI inch, type bottoming tapped hole. That's perfect. So now we go down to size and we just select what bolt size we're looking for. So look, they have like almost all the ones, they have all the ones we'd ever want to use. So your 440s for like those little tap screws. They have our 832s, 1032s. Then we're doing a quarter 20 here, but obviously we also do 832s, 1032s. So basically just select whatever screw you want to use, right? And this is if we're doing a tapped hole. Cool. So then it has a couple options for us. We could choose to have it countersunk here. I'm going to say I don't want it to be countersunk. So we see I have this options box right here. I'm going to uncheck countersunk. So I don't really need it, you know? And then it also has this thing for end condition. Remember when we were doing like our extruded cuts, we can kind of choose how deep we want our hole to be. This is doing a tap all the way through. I don't think I want to do a tap all the way through. I think I just want it to be, so I'm going to select this option. So when you're doing your end condition and you set it to blind, there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes on here. So right here, what we have is the reason why there's two options for these boxes is because you know how our drill bits kind of have a bit of like a pointed tip to them
Yeah.
to help them drill. So this first option is basically we're ignoring that little indent left by the tip at the bottom of the hole. So we're basically just measuring like the part where it's like a perfect circle up. Then this one also
Yeah.
includes that little extra point indent. So maybe you care, maybe you don't. So like maybe if I have a 2-inch thing and I don't want it to go through all 2 inches, I want it to be 1.5 maximum. This might be good if you want to try to set like a maximum, like it can't be any longer than this, right? This one might be nice if you're like, well, I need a hole for a 1-inch screw. I can't put a 1-inch screw in that cone spot. So maybe I select this one, you know, and put a 1-inch. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put 1-inch there. And then for tapping, like the thread. So one thing to keep in mind, whenever you're doing tapping, you can't really tap as deep as your hole is drilled unless you're going all the way through just because that little cone tip thing I mentioned. But I think we can do 1-inch here because we're excluding the cone tip there. So I think we can do 1-inch there. But yeah, so we kind of just set the depth of our hole. Oh, I've made a mistake. There we go. Okay. So once we've kind of finished up setting all of our settings, and there's a ton more options. I don't really use most of them though, honestly. But what we can do is we can now go to positions. So now once you do that, you can click on your face and you can basically just place points where you want your holes to be. So maybe I want my holes to be in like a square. Okay. So the thing though is you don't have to freehand these, which is kind of nice. So once you've kind of placed your 4 holes roughly where you want them, and kind of put them in like a square formation, you get it escape to escape that. And if you ever want to put an extra one in, you just have to click point. Because what it does is when you're doing the sketch, wherever you place a point, it's going to make a hole there. So this point almost becomes your hole tool. So I might say that I want these holes to be in a, and I don't know, maybe like a 2 by 2 by 2 square, maybe? I don't know. Let's give that a shot. So I'll say that these two are equal. Then I'll make these two a 90-degree angle, make it perpendicular. I'll do the same thing with these two. Perpendicular. Okay. Nice. And then I'm going to make that 2 inches. All right. As you can see, it's still underdefined. So let me know once you get to this point where you kind of have like a square that's just like a little bit underdefined in the sense that you can move it up and down side to side.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know once you're there. And then once you're there, we can kind of do the next bit.
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. So there's a couple different ways. Do you have any ideas on how we can kind of lock this up and down motion? I want it to be centered. Do you have any ideas on how I can kind of lock this?
Could you put a point in the middle?
Like here?
And then like,
Well, we already have an origin. The
yeah, like
origin
in
is already in the middle, so we don't really, or I guess your origin isn't in the middle. Say, I don't know.
mine isn't in the middle, but
Yours isn't okay. So then
okay.
let's not do anything with that.
Um, you could make a line and then have it. I forgot what you do, but wasn't there a thing where we tried that where we did like something and we like I forgot what it's called and you made it like go in the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Do you want to try doing that?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's try doing that. So what I did was I took a line and I had it go from the center point of, so like see this face here, this edge. So if I
Yeah.
make a line and I have it go from the center point of that one to the center point of this line, right? Then all I need to do is make that line be vertical. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Let me have relations. Oh, not horizontal. Not horizontal. I want mine to be vertical. Oops. There we go. There we go. Did that part make sense? Were you able to get that or no? I had a little trouble. So
I'm about to get it. I'm about to
okay,
get it.
sure.
Um,
Let me know if you're stuck on anything.
hold on. Do you have to define that line?
This line,
Or should it just yeah.
it should be pretty much fully defined. If you put this point here in the midpoint, this point here in the midpoint, and then what I did was I then made it vertical.
Yeah,
Like,
when I did horizontal or vertical, it didn't work.
um,
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
out of curiosity, when you added your dimension, is your 2 or I don't think that actually works, was it? Hold on. Yeah, no, it doesn't work. Okay, in that case, do you want to try a different method to center it?
Sure.
One way I like to do is, yeah, I'll do my line from like one midpoint to another, and then I'll make it either vertical or horizontal, depending on your direction. But here's another way you could do it as well.
Yeah.
We know that this outside cube is 4 inches by 4 inches, right?
Right.
This inside square is 2 inches by 2 inches, which means that
Right.
centered, the distance from each side to the outside of our actual cube should be 1 inch. If we make that 1 inch, and we make this 1 inch, there we go. Now it's perfectly centered, and it won't move anywhere. That's the other way you could do it. There's
Oh, okay.
you have a lot of options when you're trying to center something in SolidWorks. I've also seen people like make diagonal lines from corner to corner, corner to corner, corner to corner, and make them all equal. Like there's a ton of options. Like in the more the better
That's a crazy way though.
it is kind of cool. I've done it a couple times too. Once you as you like kind of take more as I think as you take kind of more engineering or like you ever take Mr. Cormier's like physics class or his engineering class, like you'll do a lot
No,
of
I plan to next year.
yeah. Well, you'll end up doing a lot of geometry and you'll probably start to get like a better feel for how some of these tricks work. Because the more geometry you do, the more stuff you do with shapes and angles and stuff, it starts to kind of make more sense. Like Because you guys probably haven't, I mean, you took the geometry class, I assume, in high school, right? But like,
Hmm.
you know, as you get more experience with kind of just working with shapes and stuff, you'll kind of learn more cool things you can do. But I'm gonna hit check, and as you can see, it made the holes for me. And what's really cool is if I were to measure them, if I hit evaluate and measure, oh,
Where's evaluate?
sure. It should be on your little ribbon here where you have feature, sketch, markup, and then evaluate.
Okay.
And
Oh,
if you now click on that inside diameter of our hole, it has a diameter of 0.2, which is the diameter you need to drill to make a 1/4 inch tap. That's the diameter I found when I did all my Googling um, a few weeks ago for that hex shaft video, or for the hex shaft lesson. And then if I click that outside part, and then what's really cool is it has this little outside line as well, and that represents the threading, which is really cool. And just so you know, you can use Hole Wizard for normal holes as well. So let's try to make maybe like a hole in the center as well. So let's go into Hole Wizard again. And this time instead of a tapped one, let's just do, maybe we can just do a normal hole. Let me know once you're in when you're in Hole Wizard again.
yep.
Cool. So now what this is going to do is, so when we look at type now, there's tons of options. So we can either say this is going to be some sort of drill size. So we can basically tell the person what drill bit to use. So maybe they want to use a 1/4 inch drill bit. The other things we can do is maybe we could say, maybe it's a hole for a dowel, like we're trying to push a pin into it. Maybe it's some other stuff. I've used a lot, or it could be a tap drill, right? Maybe we want them to drill a hole that we're going to tap. What we could do is we could tell them what size we want our bolt or our screw. And then what it'll automatically do is come up with, it'll basically look up what size the hole needs to be for a 1/4 inch tap hole instead of us having to look it up. But we kind of already did that there. So I'm going to look at the screw clearance type, which I think is really cool. So what you could do is you can select a bolt size. So maybe we do a 1/4 inch again. But remember, all of the bolt sizes are here. So let's say we're drilling a hole for a 1/4 inch bolt, and this isn't a tapped hole. What we can do is we can decide how we want it to fit based on that hole. And because we have those on a chart in the shop too somewhere, but we could say maybe we want it to be a very close fit, right? That would be like those holes where when you have your screw, you might have to push it or turn it a little bit, but it's not like tapped. Then you have your normal fit, which would kind of slide in and out pretty easily. And then you have your loose fit where you have a little bit of wobble. Does that make sense? You basically just have a ton of options.
Yeah.
Did I talk too
Yeah,
fast?
there's a lot of options. I'm trying to find the right
Oh,
one.
sure. So for type, we're going to go to the bottom pretty much for screw clearances. Make sure you've selected the top right icon for hole type to make sure that we're doing, what is that called? I think it's just called just the hole. And then under that, once you click that, you can go down to type and select screw clearances.
Okay, I'm good.
Cool. And yeah, as you can see, if I click custom sizing, it'll tell me what diameter it's doing. So if I want a normal fit for a 1/4 inch bolt, it tells me to use a drill that's going to have a diameter of roughly 0.266, which would be slightly bigger than a 1/4 inch. So that way it would fit nicely. If I wanted to do a close one, it's going to do 0.57, so just barely larger. If I want to do a loose one, it's going to be quite a bit bigger, you know? Meanwhile, if I were to go back to our tap drill sizing, if I wanted a tap drill for a 1/4 20, it would have me do a hole diameter of 0.2, right? So
Yeah.
this is really just a way for you to basically, instead of you having to look up what drill size, you can just tell them what kind of hole you want, and then SolidWorks will figure out what drill that should be, which is really cool. So I'm going to go with a 1/4 inch hole, and I'm going to say maybe I want it to be, I don't know, what kind of fit should it be?
Do it loose.
Loose? Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go over to positions, and I want it to be centered on my cube. So I can do it really easily because my origin's right in the center, so I can just click that. But I won't do it the easy way because I don't think you have your origin in the center, right?
No.
All right, totally fine. So yeah, just let me know when you're ready.
All right. Yeah.
So one way we can do this. So if we make a line going from the center point of this edge to our point, and then a line going from the point to, oh, I had to turn that into one arc. And then another line going from the point to the center point of this edge, right? We kind of have two lines going on.
Yeah.
If we make the two of them equal, it will force it to be centered. That's kind of a fun little way of doing it. Center a point on a square. That was kind of fun. But yeah, there's a lot of geometry tricks that you can use to kind of fully define stuff. And
So we're making it, what are we, like,
so what
what's
I
the
did,
relation?
so I put my point somewhere, then I did a line from the point to the center point of this line, another line from the point to the center point of this edge, and then from there I make the two lines equal. And it should fully define everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Gonna hit check. And now we have that hole as well. I forgot to specify hole depth now that I think about it. So I think what did it say was 1.25? That sounds fine. Whatever, that'll work. Cool. All right, so that's kind of the basis of Hole Wizard. There are a ton of options, like so many options. So like if you ever want to have a hole made for something, there's probably an option for it. You might just have to look around, or you can Google. You can like Google Hole Wizard option for blank, and it might walk you through how to do that. All right.
Okay.
Cool. So let's save that finally. So we'll call that. I'm just going to call that like hole block. Hole block. Right. And we're going to make one last new part just to show off how to do shelling. Because shelling is pretty cool. Let me know whenever you're ready.
All right, I'm good.
Cool. All right, last part of the day. So we're going to make, so what shell does is you make like a 3D object, it'll almost like scoop it out. It'll like make it hollow to a degree. So like if I were to make a cube, I can like turn it into a box with shell as kind of an example. So let's try making, would you rather make like a box, or we can make like almost like a tube, like a trash can type thing?
A box.
A box? All right, sure.
Yeah.
So let's click on top plane. We're just going to make another cube is literally all we're going to do. I'm going to make mine a pretty big trash can. Well, not really big. I don't know. I might do like a foot by a foot. So 12 by 12. Seems like that's a reasonable size. Probably hold a decent amount. And I'll probably make it 12 tall. Foot by a foot by a foot box. Yeah, I have a cube.
All right, I'm good.
Cool. So shell is so easy to use. Basically what you do is you select a face. That's going to be your opening face. And from there, it's going to open it up and it's going to kind of hollow it out. So I want this to be the opening of my box. Let's say that. So I'm going to click that. Then I'll click shell, which is right here. And from there, I can decide how thick I want my walls to be, right? So it's going to hollow it out and leave just a wall. So maybe I want 1/4 inch thick walls. I'll do 0.25. I selected that as my face. I think you could select more than one face, so we can kind of see how that ends up looking. Oh, let's show a preview. So as you can see with the preview, it's going to kind of hollow it out and just leave that. I think if I do that, it'll. We won't select two faces. I'm just going to select my top face to open it up. And if I do that, now I have a box. That's really all there is to it. Shell's pretty easy to use.
Perfect. That's easy, yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious, what would have happened if I had selected a second face? Maybe if I selected this one? Oh, it'll open up like, that's kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I was guessing. But yeah, I guess if you do a shell and you select two faces, it'll get rid of the other ones. Now I kind of have like two openings. That's kind of cool. You can probably use that to like almost like make a cloud design, I bet. But yeah, that's really all shell is. If I had made a cylinder and I selected the top half, I actually might just make one super quick just to show you. If you want to follow along, you can. Or if you don't feel like it. But as you can see, shell's pretty quick. So I'm just gonna make I'm gonna make a little trash can. I'll make a 12-inch diameter. Oh, I renamed the sketch, not the dimension. Then I'll extrude it. 12 inches again, I think. Seems reasonable. Then I can shell that 0.25 thick. And I do that. And that is very hard to see. I'm sorry, I wish I could give you a better visual on what it should look like, but it doesn't
It's okay.
cooperate. You know what I might do? Hold on, let me see if I can change transparency. Here we go. Ironically, if I make it transparent, you can see it better. But yeah, you can kind of see I got a little bit of a trash can basically now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, those are really the only three things I wanted to show you because I think everything else either I don't use much or I don't know how to use. Like I've never used intersect, I've never used wrap, never used rib, never used draft. Oh, I've used draft before. The only other thing I didn't really show you guys was 3D sketching, which can be useful with stuff, but 3D sketching is really tricky. If you ever want to learn how to use it, let me know. I'd be happy to show you guys, but it's kind of tricky. It's something I'm pretty new to myself. And trash can. And I will save this as lesson 10. I think I saved the trash can while it was transparent. So I'm going to fix that real quick. Because I want it to not be that when people look at it. Oh, now you can see it. Cool. That's what it should look like. All right. Save. Okay. Did you have any questions, Julia?
I'm good.
Sick. All right. Well, if you or anyone watching this recording wants to make a cool object with SolidWorks that will impress me, that would be really cool. If not, it's totally fine. I think this is the last class, so I'll probably reach out to John and ask him if he wanted to run something on like how to make good drawings. But yeah, I mean, he also goes to actual meetings, so he could probably show you guys there if he needs to. Yeah, no questions?
No, I'm good.
Well, congratulations. Hope you enjoyed the last class. Have a nice night.